Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3. Welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party Network. We're trying to transmit this week's message as the storm waters are rising on our Gilligan's Island, but be not afraid. Phillip and Daniel, how has your Trek week been? Daniel, how is that infamous rewatch going?
Oh,
Or have you switched over to B5 as we all knew you would?
This is awkward. Hey, there's a new B5 show on the network. You can talk about that.
There is.
Maybe you guys should all go on there and just never talk about Babylon 5 here again. I think that's probably for the best. I hadn't watched any Star Trek this week.
Oh, man.
I know, believe it or not. I've been meaning to. I really have. Actually, well, next week is my week, I think, so we'll get to do something good, I'm sure, here in a bit.
You say something good.
Yeah, but lately it's been kind of bad, yeah. Daniel.
See, I'm waiting for a series. Is it really that good? Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and 2.
Let's rewatch The Inner Light. I have been playing Star Trek Online still, though, pretty consistently. Been doing that.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Are you still an ensign like Kim, or how far?
I am a sub commander.
Far is your rank?
There you go.
Oh, that's right. You're in the Romulans.
Yes. But I am Federation friendly.
Yeah, that's always the weird part where they make you choose an alliance. If you're not Federation or Klingon, I think even if you're Jem'Hadar, they make you choose an alliance. Like you have to either choose Federation or Klingon. So it's weird that way.
I was reading a lot. There's some little tidbits of news coming out here and there about the Picard show, when it's set and stuff like that. Blah,
I
blah,
really
blah.
hope that's what it's called.
The Picard show? Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's just a chat show.
The Picard show. At this point, I would be totally fine with that.
That would be actually...
Former Captain Picard.
Look, let's be honest. We would watch it no matter what.
Oh,
it could be called the Picard show, and it's like, Johnny Carson style, and we would still watch it.
I want him to have a monologue at the beginning.
Patrick Stewart's a funny guy.
The line is drawn here. Just kidding, guys. It's going to be a fun show tonight, and...
Oh, now I completely forgot.
Now I'm writing a monologue in my head before she realized.
But you were saying there was information about when it was set and what was going on.
Yeah, and I was
Star Trek Online, Romulans.
So it's I saw a lot of comments about this sort of stuff where people were like, "What do we keep? Would we want to keep the 2009 stuff? Do we want to keep the STO stuff? Do we want to keep the novel stuff?" And it's just been interesting. It's interesting speculation.
That's interesting because, of course, Star Trek Online has sort of created this timeline that's post Voyager, of course, or post Nemesis, I guess, how you measure that. But then if the Picard show then negates this what happened, then Star Trek Online is now a new universe or whatever you want to call it.
To be fair, they have no problem retconning stuff because now Discovery stuff is in the game as well, so it's like it's no big deal for them.
Star Trek Online is just like, hey, we're just gonna have fun with all of Star Trek, and we just don't even care.
Yeah, I prefer it that way.
Nice.
Actually, it's great because it does actually have aspects from everything, like even JJ. Like JJ ships fly by all the time next to your regular ship. I like that. I like the celebration of just everything. There's no lines. There's no.
And
division.
You can create your own missions that other people can play in Star Trek Online.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it's called, but yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Well, Phillip, how has your secret covert hush wink wink Voyager
do we have
rewatch
updated
going?
scores?
We do not because the thing is, because I have to rewatch the first 2 episodes, and then continue so there's a little bit of work involved. And
when it's watching Star Trek, does it really work?
And we've been doing some during this Ion Storm season. We've been binging some stuff. We obviously, for the other podcast, we watched a series of an entire season of a Doctor Who spinoff Class. Of course, that's 8 episodes. So it wasn't as
not like the
taxing.
22.
Yeah. But as far as Star Trek stuff, like I did wear, I know that people can't see this. I am wearing my Kirk jacket, which is just like a TOS shirt, but it's a jacket hoodie. Anyway, I've never gotten so many compliments wearing this today. Just I went to Saxby, which is this sort of like hipster country place in North Carolina.
Hipster country place?
Yeah. Well, it's
that
like if you're
diametrically opposed.
No, it would be like, well, you've never been to Asheville, but if anyone who's ever been to Asheville, North Carolina, knows how you can be hipster country. And so,
but Daniel, anyone who's been to Asheville,
it'd be like Austin, except Austin's a little more. Is more Texas than country, but it's still people that look like they're Texans, but Austin. So yeah, but anyways, I got I was in a restaurant, someone's like across the table, like, where'd you get that jacket? Which is the funny story is, my mother-in-law got this at a thrift store. That's the story. So anyway.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask you too. I thought it was going to be Think Geek.
Is it one of those? Yeah, Think Geek is what
I
it
don't know. That's
like,
my free T-shirt that I'm wearing. No, I mean it's Star Trek, but I don't know where it says, Star Trek official logo, so no idea. So yeah, but yeah, so as far as watching any products, no, I have not done any. So, and then this week, I need to start studying for my GRE, so that'll probably be what my fun-filled week will be.
Fun,
because
if you don't wash away.
When you do a podcast about the Doctor, then you want to become the Doctor. Unfortunately, you have to take the GRE to do that. So,
Dr. Phil?
Jeez. Dr. Phillip. Please say it's Dr. Phillip so we know. Well, this week on Friday was the digital release of Solo: A Star Wars Story. So I've been rewatching that for the first time since theater.
This is Star Trek.
But this is what we're talking about.
You talked, Daniel, about something, and then I talked Doctor Who. You can talk. So,
It's the podcast where we don't talk about Star Trek until 20 minutes in. But it's been really fun because people have been posting a lot of stuff. A lot of the creators that I follow have been posting behind-the-scenes stuff because now they can do that. There's some extra behind-the-scenes, roundtables and documentary pieces. So that's been a lot of fun. Just more material, and it's been really enjoyable.
Do any of those actually show the original directors or like address the situation that happened? Or
I did read that there were. I'd have to pull it up, but there were like 5 things that were confirmed that were created by was it Lord Miller? I think
something like that. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, it was I think the character L3, the pretty much a lot of like that first act where they're like Lady Proxima, where they're on the Corellia, pretty much all of that I think was Lord and Miller, and then after that, which I think people had kind of guessed that because it does feel a bit of a tonal shift between that part and then it jumps forward years later, and maybe that kind of makes sense because if you're going to be changing things, having like a jump flash forward in time is a great way to differentiate between the beginning and the later. Although it was cool, there's a behind the scenes shot or a clip where Han is basically Top Gun flight school getting drummed out of the Corps because of his reckless inversion flight or whatever.
Is that when he drives the car off the cliff? And then they're like, what's your name? He's like, Solo. Han Solo.
But it's cool because one of my friends, Glenn Dillon, posted a picture of all of the, I guess, judges, or they're like, the high-level Imperials, and it's kind of like a court-martial kind of scenario. But anyway, he showed in this wide shot that all of those people were like the visual effects artists and the sound designers, and like, so it was one of those cool shots that had all these behind-the-scenes people playing these background characters, but unfortunately it got cut. But it actually was kind of funny because it like I said, it was right in that in-between, him on Corellia and him fighting on Mimban, and actually had a funny joke cut because the very end, Han's like, oh, I thought this would be much worse, and he's like, oh, don't worry, we'll get you flying soon, and then the next shot is him flying through the air in the war zone in Mimban, but unfortunately that didn't make the final cut.
So 2 Star Trek related things. One, and I know I'm a little late on this, but I watched the video for the Creative Emmy Award that Star Trek got. I guess it was just like a lifetime achievement. I mean, not like to a person, but to the show. And there's a little video. So if you Google that on YouTube, Star Trek. So it was because there's a lot of Discovery stuff, I mean, it was all of Star Trek, but I haven't seen like a good Star Trek, clip with a lot of Discovery stuff in it before, and so that was interesting, sort of marrying that to the everything. So that was nice. And then my other thing was, speaking of special releases that probably no one really asked for, was I don't know if you guys saw this. There is the soundtrack to Star Trek Nemesis on vinyl. My comment was, why? I mean,
has it been cloaked in like the bargain
it's
bin
green
for years,
it's
and
like
we
a
didn't
green
realize about it?
And I can accept that you can have a good soundtrack from a maybe not good movie, but like I don't remember the Star Trek Nemesis sound. I mean, like Insurrection, if you like that soundtrack, it is to have that, the
First Contact,
the Village,
First Contact
soundtrack. Well, no, it's First Contact. I mean, that's an awesome movie. But even Insurrection, if you like the sort of the Village music, that's not what it's called. But anyway, that's sort of a different tonal shift. And then there's sort of, that's sort of action. But like Nemesis, I mean, like Star Trek fans, I know you like to buy stuff, but like, I don't need everything,
Yeah, I don't know.
Like if you, so if you could have a vinyl, which I don't poo-poo the vinyl movement totally, because there are some things I would buy in vinyl. I'd be like, yeah, cool, why not? But like, I think First Contact would be a great choice. And then I don't know what would be your other soundtrack from Star Trek movie?
I'd say either Wrath of Khan,
or even like Into Darkness. Into Darkness, not a great movie, good soundtrack.
I would say 09.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yeah, '09 is a really good soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
I have that. I bought that soundtrack on digital,
including Sabotage. So there you go, haters.
Now, I'm a somewhat recent...
You mean the classical music?
I'm a somewhat recent Prime member, and Beyond is on Prime. Now, I've only seen Beyond once, because I was like, it was good. I don't ever want to destroy my opinion of it by watching it again. This is the only Star Trek movie I've probably ever only seen once. So I'm tempted to, it's there. I'm like, do I watch it again? Because then am I going to, because like, I don't like the destroying the Enterprise and that part I don't like. But overall, compared to all the others, it seemed to me the best
like the
JJ
station's
film.
Really cool. It's got a good plot.
They try to give the characters, pair them off into their own stories.
Yeah.
And so I'm afraid if I watch it again, my critical fan brain will start being like, no.
Just watch it with Jessica and see. Yeah, that might help temper it a little bit, because she'll probably like a certain aspect of it.
Because I remember the things I didn't want. Like, I didn't enjoy blowing up the Enterprise, as again. I mean, not both again as in Star Trek 3 and again as in every JJ is the Enterprise getting basically blown up. But whatever, right? And then the whole like having
they just don't have shields like they used to.
I guess, yeah, which is irritating. And then like the alien girl dying or woman dying, because I knew that would happen with the putting the thing in her head. I'm like, she's not long for this world. And then having the thing so close, like having the biggest, the Yorktown, which I don't know why we named a space station Yorktown, but we did. Having it like, we're going to do it right next to this uncharted thing. I hope nothing bad will happen, but those are all little things. I mean, I did like they brought in the Enterprise timeline, even though the Idris character wasn't that nuanced. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. Better than Khan, better than Nero, but then those aren't really big competition. So,
that's for another time.
But anyway, but Beyond.
Yeah, I mean, if you go into it trying to look for things to enjoy, you'll probably enjoy it, because it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I've only seen it once as well. I've been meaning to go back.
There you go. See,
I've been meaning to go back as well to watch it. So I think now that I know it's on Prime, I'll probably check it out sometime soon.
It was like a Kirk on a motorcycle. I remember thinking like, okay, but whatever.
Yeah, the motorcycle stuff is silly. But the movie is so fun, and you can definitely tell it was written by people that like Star Trek.
Well, it was written by Simon Pegg, wasn't it?
But yeah, Simon Pegg, and
I think he co-wrote it.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with someone else. So you can kind of tell, as opposed to before with people.
And they, like you said, Philip, they split up and have their own little missions, very much like we see in Star Trek 4 and Star Trek 3, and that's really enjoyable. We like that. I mean, that's what the movies need to have, because there's only so much time, and so it's like you have to have the bigger than life story for a movie, but you also want to see all these character moments. So it's
you had
tricky.
your prime Spock moment, and then of course, again, I'm saying all these bad things. I did enjoy Beyond, but like the other thing was like not solving the Uhura Spock problem. Like they're like, Spock has this problem, and then like at the end, like you didn't really solve it, but we're ending the movie. Credits roll.
I think it was.
You gave your girlfriend a tracer.
It did not occur to me at the time.
But anyway, so check it out, Beyond. Tell me what you think, people.
There you go. Well, as Daniel was saying, he was thinking about the new Star Trek Picard show. And,
Now, who would be his sidekick? Like, who would be, like, the Andy Richter? Gosh. Like,
Q.
Q would be good. I was actually thinking of who would be the band, like the Warp Core Engineers or something like that.
Q's the announcer guy who's, like, up in the booth.
Yeah,
like,
I like that.
And
then who would be
who's
the band
coming
leader?
on down this week?
Laughing at all of Picard's jokes.
Barkley.
See, I would feel like Worf would be the director, and every time they would pan to him, he would just be like...
He'd just be totally, completely stern-faced.
They could do one of those things where, like, they shoot all the Worf footage in one day, and they just keep reusing, like, the same 20 shots.
It would actually, as a straight man, Worf would be really good, because anytime, like, everybody's laughing it up, he's just sitting there, like, totally, like...
He's like, good tea. Nice.
It'd be Worf could be the Andy Richter, but he just sits in that couch and just intimidates people as they try to sit down.
They're just between them. He's between Picard and Worf, and you just don't want to be there.
It reminds me, this is going to be really going into the recesses. So when MTV had this show, this would have been in high school probably, where it was kind of like cool and kind of whatever to watch MTV, called Oddball. It was late at night, really late at night. It was kind of a weird show. Again, it's in the title, but it was basically like a late night show. But just had the guests would be like these weird like bends. They could like move their legs or whatever, just like really weird stuff they could do. But like the sort of the Andy Richter type would just be this huge guy, never said a word. Every show, this huge guy, you just sit there on the couch the whole time, and he would just move over when someone came. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're going for a huge guy, I guess, we could find...
Mr. Holm?
Breen or something. Or Mr. Holm.
But yeah.
Oh, no, you know who it would be? Come on, guys. And I know it didn't interact with Picard, so whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it would obviously be Morn.
That makes sense.
Yep.
What do you think of that, Morn?
They come back from break every time.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one, Morn.
That's a good one, Morn. Oh, this guy. Oh, man. Our next segment. So, okay, but all that to say, so I was thinking about, in the future with Picard. I mean, I don't want to get into thoughts on the show, because, again, we don't really know much of anything. But it was making me think about how is holographic technology going to be advancing in that time. And what I want us to do is we're going to develop not that they're all going to be on the same ship, but we've seen in Voyager the EMH, the emergency medical hologram, which apparently if you leave on long enough is like voids the warranty. But what I think it'd be interesting to do is what other kind of emergency holograms could Starfleet make, or there are reasons that they shouldn't, or like for technical or moral reasons. So I was kind of wanted to go through some of the main positions on a starship. And again, I'm not saying the entire ship is run off of holograms. That's probably a very like Clues level disaster where everyone's knocked unconscious. But yeah, I figured it would be a fun mental discussion.
You know what they should have, Daniel, is a holographic computer engineer.
Because they don't have any real ones.
He's always working on himself. It's like, oh, I can't see.
No, it's because no one ever thinks about the fact that when the computer breaks down, the first thing that's going to break down is your holographic computer operator. And so...
Well, it's on a separate...
No, don't worry.
Grid,
I mean, yeah, it's on a separate power system.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But, okay, well, let's start with engineering. Like, which made me think of the exocomps. Like, we see those used by Starfleet. So why wouldn't you... and we also saw that, that probe that Geordi kind of pilots
down
to the Hera.
Interface.
Yeah, interface. So I'm like, the next logical step, so exocomp, you have a tool that goes down the Jeffries tube and is expendable, and then you have
Darren.
Oh,
the exocomp is a sentient being. I don't know why you're being so machinist.
Not when I'm done with it, but and then you have like the deep space probe, where maybe the feedback is a little much because it could kill you. That seems a little risky, but it seemed like the next logical progression to, why couldn't you have an emergency, what would you call it? Emergency engineering.
The triple E.
Hologram.
Can't think of another E.
Yeah. And then, so let's say they have to go climb down this Jeffries tube, or they don't have to climb down the Jeffries tube because the holomatrix can activate all the way down in subsection 2 in an instant, and now you don't have to take the travel time to get there. So, now I'm not saying this is the best idea. I want you guys to poke holes in my theory.
I was thinking more of like, why do you need emergency, things in engineering? So it's usually when you have a
coolant leak, always
coolant
happening.
leak. Oh, that can happen every time when that door comes down.
Because then I want to see the scene where, just like in sickbay, he walks right through the door like it's nothing, and he's on the other side like, no problem, guys, I got this, and he's all pushing buttons.
I want to add one more step to the barrel roll. So it's coolant leak. Everyone comes down, the door's coming down, you do your barrel roll, and you have to be like, computer activate emergency engineer, and then it closes, and then emergency engineer comes up. Because I think it would be interesting to play with the idea. Of course, we're going to be so humanoid, and why not be non-humanoid? It could be a holographic Horta, it could be a holographic exocomp, whatever. But because I think it's more of an emergency situation where a biological would have trouble operating.
Let's say its main one is a human, but it could like change its arm much more into like a tool in an exocomp kind of way.
Here's the problem. You're thinking a little too small here.
Okay.
And we do this, we anthropomorphize, and it almost, I'll give Star Trek credit that it almost makes sense in a medical context, especially when you're dealing with...
Well, yeah, you don't want a Horta being your doctor.
It doesn't even need to be anything. If you could project light as matter in order to manipulate things, so say you could do this in engineering, you wouldn't need an engineer. The ship would literally be able to fix itself by thinking. It'd say, oh no, the antimatter is crooked and I have to turn it. I don't have to manifest a hand. It doesn't have to be a hand, or it could be a wrench. It could be a hand if that was the most effective.
It's called hydrospanner.
It could be whatever tool that it needed, and it wouldn't need anything more than that. It wouldn't need to have a personality, or wouldn't need to have a face. It could just be, there's the Jeffries tubes. Let's manifest something to pick up the panel off the wall, and then to press the buttons, and then to cut the wires. And That's it. It's just the computer at that point having the magical ability to fix itself.
So it's like a ghost. You're creating an emergency engineer poltergeist.
It's obviously not interesting and wouldn't be fun to watch.
Ooh, now I'm thinking, does it look like Slimer? Can it be Slimer?
You're anthropomorphizing.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that that Dead Stop, or was that the name?
Yeah, Dead Stop.
With the station that repaired the Enterprise, and it had these robotic arms that kind of came out of nowhere and then materialized the part and then plugged it in, and it was all automated.
You just have to sacrifice a member of your crew, Darren. Again, okay. I mean, what's going on in this episode?
Is it worth it? I'd say so, but... well, and yeah, not that we have to keep it human-centric, but if we did, another part of this discussion is who is going to be
your model
template?
Engineer?
Who is your model engineer for the emergency engineer hologram, the EEH?
See, I think, you know what I would love, just because, even though he's not an engineer, just have Stamets. Wouldn't you love Stamets to be your holographic-based personality?
Well, personality?
Yes.
He kind of shares a lot of similarities with season 1 EMH
Doctor,
as well. Yeah, they're both curmudgeonly. They're both kind of cranky and
true.
And,
know it all
about his spore drive as he's working on the warp core.
It could be like, because it's like, whatever you call him, EE, whatever. Can you get it? Whatever. He's like, I think I know what I'm doing. I'm programmed with approximately 1,000 engineering knowledge. Okay.
1000. That's super. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't know who the EMH was based off of, so it's
Well,
kind of weird.
No, we
I
retro.
mean, we didn't at the time.
Yeah,
we didn't
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't.
Well,
want
but the fact that later they wanted to base the second one, it wasn't based off of Zimmerman. It would have been based off Bashir, who is a doctor.
That's true.
So following that convention, it does make sense to have a template be in the field.
But then you could always do this.
So Stamets.
Yeah. I think it would be good in case Discovery doesn't go forward for any reason.
Okay, so that's a thought. What do you think template wise, Daniel?
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's always tempting to go like Scotty.
I mean, your vote can be amorphous,
but then which Scotty?
Ghost of whatever.
Are you doing early Scotty? This is like Elvis. Are you doing young Scotty or Las Vegas Scotty?
Oh no, I would do a young Scotty for sure. Yeah.
So not Relic Scotty.
Not Relic Scotty. No.
I bought the boat.
Unless you wanted to be depressed all the time.
Oh. But the problem is, if you go young Scotty, that thing's gonna be drinking.
That's okay. It can have as much as it wants. Still synthahol anyway.
Holographic. It's holographic synthahol, so I don't even know what that is.
That's layers upon layers of
So can I put
artificialness.
I don't want to go outside the topic, but just because I mentioned it in passing and it made me jog my memory. So pause for a second. Anyone worried that the recent CBS shakeup may affect Discovery?
No. Do you know why?
No.
Why?
Because I believe this is the case. Now that I'm about to say it out loud, I feel a little unsure. But I believe this is the case that Les Moonves has never been a fan of Star Trek. It's why we've had droughts as long as we've had involving Star Trek.
Well, was Les one of the ones who left?
No, well, he got kicked out. We won't go into details, but yes, the president of the CEO of CBS is out involuntarily, and so I've heard, and this is maybe rumor, but I swear I saw an article that said they're even thinking of putting it up for sale.
CBS?
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
So anyway, I'm just saying.
So Paramount should buy it. Yay!
Yeah, but anyway,
things
are in flux, is what I'm saying. So, obviously, I don't know if that goes down to the level, but CBS All Access, of course, whether that, I think it's making money. But, these are all things that I don't know. You don't know.
I think that his ousting is better for Star Trek than not.
Okay.
Yeah, I concur.
Sorry. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. So sorry. Continue.
So you're saying we should have him as the template for the emergency engineer hologram?
There's going to be issues. I did not.
Look, it's going to be so much easier when you have to take your, command exam and order him off to his death in the.
Who are we going to pick? Oh man, that's kind of a terrible.
Well, it's true. They've already had the Geordi hologram from the death program.
That's true. That's true. So, I think I'd go with classic Scotty. I think that would work. I don't know, Geordi, even though, like you said, Geordi, I don't
they tried to introduce new Scotty. No one liked it, so they had to go to classic Scotty, and
All right.
You mean old Scotty? Because old Scotty and new Scotty are different.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That is true. I did not even think about that, Daniel. That's true.
I would be cool with Simon Pegg as a template as well, by the way.
But then you'd have to have Keezer.
That's like your decimal point upgrades. 2.1, the 0.1 is Keenzer.
Yeah.
So wait, Andy. Hang on. Let me follow this train here. So, Simon Pegg is Andy Dick
yes.
To, you know what I'm trying to do there.
Oh, James Doohan?
Scotty.
James Doohan's, yes.
Wow.
That makes more sense than I'd like.
I like that. Now I want to see that. What do you mean to tell me? And then, that's...
Beep, beep, beep. So, okay. Now, I mean, obviously we can see some flaws with this, like the fact that very often there are things going on in engineering or in engineering type fixes that are like massive amounts of gamma radiation, like things that don't play nice with holographic emitters. So, I could see.
I was just thinking that we could have saved Spock in Star Trek 2 if we had an E.
Yeah.
E-E-H.
H.
Yeah.
Yep.
E.
An EHA. So, and it'd be mandatory to have a name at the beginning because we're not dealing with this.
Oh yeah, but I think we don't want those storylines.
Yes.
Steve.
Okay.
Steve. I want you to go in there and save
Bob the engine guy. Okay, so we got that. So, okay, and we already have medical. Like, we don't need to cover that. So, next we have, I mean, we could do sciences, but that made me think of maybe of a one-off, and it was a little more command-ish. But what if we had a first contact specialist program? Could be programmed with a ton of knowledge, and which could be updated on the fly as new information is found. So you basically take the top 20 first contact specialists, compile that together into a matrix, and they just get the ball rolling. Like, eventually it could be passed off to the captain or the what. But I mean, we know not everyone has Picard's flair. For first contact scenarios. It's going to happen on these other ships. So
it didn't always go well.
When they need it, they can push a button and the FC
first contact hologram.
Yeah.
I thought it's the emergency first contact hologram.
No, we're not going to look. You don't want to start off a new alliance by saying it's an emergency, Phillip.
Well, I was thinking in the post Voyager age, we have the what's it called?
The mobile emitter.
Mobile emitter, that's what I'm looking for. You have the mobile emitter. So I think a first contact hologram with a mobile emitter, because they have the ability to change to it's almost like an intelligence gathering drone. But they have to have the matrix
and it's safer
to adapt.
Because if all of a sudden they change their mind or they shoot them, it's
no harm, no foul.
You're not out.
Yeah, it's basically a probe.
Well, a little harm, but
it's basically a probe that can look like the indigenous species, speak like the indigenous species. It'll have to gather, information.
Right.
But then it can also change into like, okay, now I'm a middle-aged shopkeeper. Now I'm going to be looks like a older woman. Together there's many possibilities of the roles.
Okay. So you're saying more like a deep cover,
like
kind
T2,
of like in Blink,
but good. Not evil.
Well, or I was thinking like Wink of an Eye, where the Doctor goes.
Oh yeah, I was thinking that.
And
too.
he's there for like
Basically,
decades.
Yeah.
But actually think of that without a time dilated planet. So you have this first contact specialist. So it's for a planet that we can tell is on the cusp, like it's going to be approaching, warp travel and such. We implant a couple of holograms that can integrate themselves in that society, so that when first contact happens, there can be a moment where, the president or the leader of whatever the planet is talking to our guy, and then his, trusted lieutenant, steps over to the other side of the table, and he's like, actually, we've been, well, maybe that's not the best case.
So here's the problem. So, this is all making me think of like things like First Contact, the episode, not the movie.
Right.
It's making me think of
We Are the Watchers.
Who Watches the Watchers?
Who Watches the Watchers?
Which is the best episode of all time. The problem here is, and kind of a problem with Star Trek, the further it goes into the future, is when you have this level of technology, what's the point? I mean, like, so like,
or like Insurrection, where they're watching them with the cloak suits.
If you can just program a machine to do everything a person can do, I mean, like, first of all, you're taking our jobs, Darren. Like, you're taking the first contact specialist jobs. These people, like, they live.
We don't even have that job, Daniel. As far as I know, it doesn't even exist.
They live in these duck blinds for years. For years. I mean, I admit it's a really cool idea that you just drop off, holograms at every planet you come across, and then, but it feels like you're shortcutting and shortchanging the story, and like you don't get to see any of that stuff.
Well, it reminds me, not to be controversial, not that I think y'all will be controversial, I know it will be others. Anyway, so it's like we use armed drones instead of people to save lives, and so, but forgetting that example, but it's a metaphor. So this case, instead of sending Will Riker dressed in his rubber gloves to pretend to be an alien and then get imprisoned and random people having sex with him, you have a holographic drone where like I said, it'll just be a mystery if something gets damaged to the local population. What the hell happened? Is a ghost, a spirit, whatever their belief is, they'll never know what happened because there's no biological evidence, or it self-destructs or something like that.
And
So-
and to that whole point, like a person is actually kind of the least if you have this ability, a person is the least effective way to do this. You would be a cloud, and you would literally just be gathering intelligence the whole time, or something like that. You would be a door.
Well, I mean, that would
Somewhat
be
passive, yeah,
super
'cause-
passive,
but-
yeah.
which would be
and then
fine.
eventually you could go to
Adaptive.
well, that's the
person.
thing. That's the thing, especially with the Prime Directive, you would want to be passive for this role. You would want to be as passive as possible. If you actually insert, as well as the first contact specialist is going to be, they're still going to have some impact on that society. If you could be literally a fly on the wall, that's what the first contact specialist could or should be, you know? But,
But I think we're kind of talking about two separate things about, the cloud, infiltrator, but then there's also the, standing on the bridge of our starship and is the first one to the diplomatic table. I think that makes way more sense because also as a story perspective, that could still be an interesting character because it'd be played by a human and, they would be... now, would this be something we would want to use Picard as a template for?
Well, it's going to be a whatever. It's going to look like whatever.
it would feel, yeah, I guess. I could see that, but...
Well, you know what it could do? And this is a thought. Because it's going to be shaping or changing shape constantly. It's going to be a small child. It could be an old man. If we picked a ship that it has all that crew as the base personality. So when it's if we're using TNG, for example. So if it's an old man, it looks like Picard. If it's a young man, it looks like Riker, like babyface Riker. It's sort of like, there still looks alien, but it would have those sort of base, look to it and personality.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think, like you said, it makes more sense to be able to adjust it to the particular species. But my main focus was just something that was, we haven't had any contact with this civilization except for today, and now we have to.
They have warp power of some sort,
right? And they're
enriching antimatter, and so
yeah. Well, but I'm saying it's like I've seen this in some of like the Titan books or some of the later TNG books where they actually have a first contact specialist who that's their job to and granted they prep the stuff and they kind of are in the ear of the captain through the whole encounter because they know all the Starfleet regulations. That's outrageous. But okay, so we're not quite as sure for our FCH, but it's definitely.
I feel like there's more to do this. We're going to stumble
concept.
upon an unfortunate acronym the more we do this. But go ahead.
That's true. So that was kind of a command one. So I jumped over science, but
as we all do.
Back to science. Those blue shirts, light blue, dark blue, whatever.
Daniel, what would you have a holographic science hologram do? Like. Put slides together? What do they
the thing
do?
is, so if we're going to...
How is that any different than just asking the computer to run an analysis?
That's the thing. I mean, well, technically there is no difference in that respect. The thing is, especially with science, you already have the computer doing all the computery things it can do.
Right.
Maybe more of an away team thing or something? I don't know.
Or maybe more of an interface thing. Because there's been a lot of times when, the characters like our characters that we're following are trying to interface with the computer to determine something, and they have to ask it in kind of a clunky question way, and the computer seems really dumb, where it's like, please restate the question, or oh, I don't understand you. So what if it was
in
more
Double
of
Jeopardy? It must be phrased in the form of a question.
Exactly. So what if it was more of an interface where here's Comp, our friendly computer surrogate.
Comp, I like it.
And we're talking with them
Compy.
like a person. And so it's basically they have all the processing power of the ship's computer, but they have the holographic personality matrix interface to get excited about science in a way that the computer never does.
Oh, great.
I mean,
so great. Now that you said
they
that...
got a Bill Nye t-shirt on.
No, Darren, you know who it has to be, and I hate that I'm going to say this. It has to be Tilly.
I would
hate
like
that I have to do it. But if you want
great.
someone excited about science,
No, wait. Are we turning on that F-bomb filter? Because that's really
Oh,
important.
man.
No,
in the
no,
programming.
that's part of her enthusiasm. And we're all
enthusiasm.
adults.
Yeah.
Captain.
So okay. So, but what about that, Daniel? Does that make more sense as a concept?
No, it doesn't. It kind of
That's all right.
Kind of doesn't fit for a lot of reasons. I can see like an application.
What if all your science crew were stupid and beamed down to a planet unwisely
And
and
they all
have been
died.
incapacitated? I was just saying incapacitated, but and now you need someone who's
Science.
going to science the science.
Presumably, all Starfleet officers are actually.
If
trained
I
in
remember
science.
my freshman biology from the academy.
And
Yeah, pretty much.
again, you don't need.
You're not wrong.
You don't, and plus, you have this crazy sophisticated computer. If you have a computer sophisticated enough to build an entire creature, you don't need to build the creature. You have the computer.
Well-
Especially in science, where it's not like in medicine. Okay, somebody can actually perform the surgery. In science, that's not the case. The ship does most of the functions anyways. It can scan the stuff. It can look at the things and
Right.
Well, I think you need a
deep and
personality. I mean, because the computer doesn't have a personality matrix, so it can only puts out what you ask it for.
It responds.
You need something to intuit.
No,
you
no,
need
no.
something
but-
to.
No.
And that's where I was saying with the
That's
holographic
not true,
science
though.
officer.
That's not true. There's plenty of examples in Star Trek, and I can't name one.
Name 23.
I can't
No, I'm
name
just
even
kidding.
one right now. Off the top of my head.
65, Daniel.
There
That
are
is the
full-
standard of how many things you have to name.
The computer in Star Trek is incredibly sophisticated. But
Okay.
let's put that aside and just put the Voyager into this conversation. The computer's generating the Doctor. It already has these capabilities. You could do the same thing without generating the Doctor. So you don't need that. And for science, it doesn't feel like it would fit or work even.
But I mean, the computer isn't like, oh, this person's sick and this is what they have to
but
do.
remember, the Doctor's a program. Like, I know what you're saying, Daniel. But I'm feeling there's a divide between the computer that runs the starship and the Doctor, because the Doctor is a program to harness that knowledge he's been given. I mean, they even have an episode of where they're trying to recreate a backup Doctor, and it goes horribly, horribly wrong, because they just try to load the database into a shell, and it
Kim's trying to
starts
start his
reading.
own startup with a new doc app, and it just doesn't go
One
well.
of the worst
Yeah.
things that we lost in World War III was copy paste, and unfortunately, we don't have that ability. No, it just doesn't. To me, it just doesn't make any sort of sense. And it kind of like science.
If it's not people doing it, then why are we even out there?
I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to. Too, is like science is the goal of Star Trek for a lot of Star Trek, and
All right.
and it's just that feels like the most human element of Star Trek. Like, why are we out here? How many times have we asked that question?
You don't want a Carl Sagan, hologram.
I would love a Carl Sagan hologram, but I don't want him telling the characters what they need to be curious about or what they need to do. I want them to have that innate in themselves. I think that's kind of
Okay.
what separates them from.
So contain him to the poker room on the holodeck.
Exactly.
He can have poker with Data, but he can't be leading team missions. Okay, I got the line.
Well, he could be the science professional development coordinator, where in order to keep you abreast of the current science topics, you have to go, every once a week or once a quarter.
Or he's the special computer program voice when they all go into the meeting room, and it's like, Carl, could you recap what our situation is? Late in the 24th century,
Oh my
the
God.
Enterprise
Now
encountered...
I want that to stand for something. What is the abbreviation, Carl? Computer access
that's a great one.
retrieval library.
Computer augmented
Research library.
Yeah, research library. There you go.
Oh.
That's science. Perfect.
Yep. And it's also an episode title.
Oh my God, I want more.
Augmented
Research
I am a
library.
massive
Research
fan of Carl Sagan. and
library.
I would love more of him in Star
It still
Trek.
has
We
like the
already have
70s hair,
And that'd be great.
Yeah.
And he's got his red turtleneck
Yeah,
on.
just
and-
like it's classic Scotty. This is classic Carl
Carl.
Sagan. This
That's
is
classic Carl.
Cosmos.
But it's got a badge on,
Yes,
like a
exactly.
a Starfleet badge. Yep,
Well, now
totally
you have your
numbered,
image.
totally normal.
Now you
But
have
he's
your
got the
image art,
badge.
Darren. There you go. It's Carl Sagan with his turtleneck, and he's got a badge. There you go. Perfect.
But yeah, we were trying to find a way to make those PowerPoint presentations better. What better way than to have the Carl program give a recap?
I'm glad you
There are
asked, Captain.
billions and billions of stars.
It's basically like the evolution of PowerPoint becomes Carl.
And it has to be like the landscape where he's sitting on a rock in, right above the ocean, something,
But every once in a while it gets a little buggy, and it starts, and it's like, imagine a two-dimensional world. No, Carl, we're not anywhere near two-dimensional space. Like, just stop.
Oh, this is my favorite Star Trek thing we've ever come up with.
See, and you didn't want a science hologram, Daniel.
I know. There you go.
But we changed it into something that would be useful. So either for presentations or like an interface, basically he's the new
Now,
L-card.
I'm imagining the marketing material for this, like, are your PowerPoint meetings going far with the new?
Are your captain's eyes glazing over when you try to speak technobabble?
You just see like
to
the
them?
people at
Well,
the
don't you
briefing
worry.
table, like,
No, it's panning around the table. Riker and Diana are making out in the back. They're just totally checked out. Geordi's,
sighs as he's giving the
Data's
presentation.
Data's paying attention because he's
No,
programmed
Data is
to.
calling
And
the
Picard-
Chinese finger trap.
Oh gosh. And Picard's just like, yes, Mr. LaForge, yes.
Next slide, please.
Fun fact about Carl Sagan: his son Nick wrote episodes for both TNG and Voyager.
There you go.
That is cool.
So there you go.
So that's a better Carl. So we have the Carl program, we have the EEH, and we have the FCH beta program that we're not quite so sure about. So that's kind of engineering. Oh man, I don't know how I was missing this one. Security. I mean, think about it. I mean, all we do right now is we just throw up a force field if they have, and then it's the most ineffective thing ever. It's so easy to get around, apparently, So, so what if we had an emergency tactical hologram that could, I don't know, watch doors of the brig to make sure people
I would
don't get
like
out?
that. The sophistication of holographic technology. All that you have the doctor. We're just going to use the security one just to watch people. Just to. It's basically
He just follows
it's a
around
security guard.
the delegates.
He has a flashlight, and a baton.
Oh, gosh. Did I hear something? Nope.
wait. Like, is he from like a bad computer game where you then have to just wait a couple moments and then he'll be like,
What was
As long
that?
as you don't get in the beam of his flashlight, you're totally fine.
I thought I heard
What was-
something.
You hear that? What does it sound like? The and then it's like, and then his threat level calms back down.
I guess it must be nothing.
It's a Mark 1. Okay, it's a Mark 1. There's going to be
Yeah,
some improvements.
Let's just say this is the one we purposely create, knowing it's going to get disbanded because it's just not going.
So it's
to
going
work.
to be based off of what's his name? The character in Night in the Museum.
Ben Stiller.
Oh
Ben Stiller's
gosh.
character in Night of the
Yeah.
Museum. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, he's a big Star Trek fan, right? He'd like that, play a role. So there you go.
No, this is stupid.
Yeah.
This is another function. This is another function that should already be taken care
next
of.
time you
by
tell me
the
they should have
computer.
security cameras in them.
Yes. The
Gosh,
ship should.
we've already been over that. For plot reasons, we can't have them.
I know. But then you're just gonna have the ship fail twice if you have an E. What is this?
Emergency security guard.
ETH.
The Ish
Emergency. The emergency
The
tactical
emergency brig
hologram.
technician.
guard.
The Night Watch.
There you go.
Okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying. We're straying far from the purity that is the EMH. Now we're into the third cousin of. It's not quite pulling it. So,
Well, I can
yeah,
see that.
it's-
If for some, this is very niche, but that's what all this is. If for some reason you have a prisoner, so the computer knows, is there a prisoner in the brig? It's like a decision chain. Yes.
Checkbox, yes or no. Are you a machine?
Are
Yes or
there
no? break down this CAPTCHA for me.
Are there any, are there personnel available? So in other words, imagine a scenario where for some reason the crew is either left or incapacitated, but you still have an active prisoner in the brig.
Right.
What do you do?
A Barian sweep's coming its way. You never know. Yeah.
Philip, your basic logic is the reason that Star Trek security makes no sense. We can develop systems now that are far better. Wait a minute. Has this prisoner escaped? Yes. Is it heading toward the shuttle bay? Yes. Should I lock down the shuttle bay? No. No, yes, no, do it. Lock down the shuttle bay. Lock down the transporter room. But put the force fields up. All of this stuff this isn't like sophisticated coding. This isn't sophisticated.
Or, I always wondered, why is the brig not situated in some sort of choke point area where there's literally like one corridor out and it's like against the hull?
Instead of station,
so there's nowhere to go.
3 transporter rooms and an escape pod.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the shuttle
seriously. And the shuttle bay is like just on the next level. Sheesh.
It's like you should not be able to get to that.
On the Oberth class vessels, they solve this problem really easy. That brig is in the secondary hall. You ain't going nowhere, Jack.
Yeah. Unless it's through an access tunnel, and it's going to take like an hour.
Data can do it.
So we've had a lot of different emergency holographic, some much more fun than others, some devaluing the existence of human life, but that's just
now I'm imagining the
Mark
I security guard actually has the graphics of 1990s computer games. It's a little blocky, but it's still Starfleet.
It's got to look like, it looks like
it's almost like Half-Life,
like the action figures. It's like the action figures where it's bigger and like broader chest than it should be. Like it's not actually a human proportion.
Man.
But it's like hologram, fill the entire doorway. Okay, just you can't get by me. But then again, they'd probably put the mobile emitter in a stupid place, and it'd be always taken out.
Like not everyone keeps their mobile emitter in the same place.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, it's been a lot of fun talking about emergency holographic procedures, and hopefully we'll get some more holographic characters or whatnot in the future. I think that would be fun. I mean, who wouldn't want Captain Picard to have Dixon Hill sitting, next to him on his
no, that's his
bridge.
That's his replacement host when he goes on vacation on shore leave.
It's like Pee Wee Herman's when he sets up that dummy in his video phone so he can not be there. But next week, Daniel, what are we going to be talking about?
Oh, this will be fun. We'll be talking a lot about holograms. Oh, wait, no. In fact, we won't. We'll be talking about the wonderful TNG episode, Sub Rosa.
Oh, so, yay.
Get your candles ready.
I was worried for a moment there.
Get your candles ready. And we'll be discussing on whether
the
Sub
candle
Rosa is really that bad.
Oh, yay. Yay.
Oh, yeah.
I just keep telling myself it's only every 3 weeks. It's only every 3 weeks.
Make sure you have your wife watch it, Philip. I'm curious to see if she likes this one.
Don't do that to her, Phillip.
Well, she has...
Your marriage is still young and fragile. Don't do that.
She used to like, before we met, of course, like the sort of trashy romance novel. So, that's basically what this is.
Yeah, but like a good trashy romance. This is not that at all.
Well, we'll find out because we don't know. Right. Is it really?
Yeah, I'm really unsure about this one.
Wait a minute. Didn't that guy play Vedic whatever on Deep Space Nine, her second boyfriend?
Not Bareil.
Yeah, no, that's the boring one. The second one.
Who's that guy?
The boring. The candle guy. Well, there's only one guy in that episode. Oh, we'll have to do research for next week. So, Phillip, if someone wanted to talk to you about you could call him brig mate. Your bridge mate. Where would you be found on this World Wide Web?
They can find me on Twitter at handle @NCPublicServant.
And Daniel, if someone wanted to talk to you about, you're already writing the program for the Carl program. That's great. So if they wanted to talk to you about your love of Sagan, how would they find you?
They would find me on Twitter at @OneUpDan. That's the number one, not the word. As in, I am actually the world's number one biggest Carl Sagan fan. So please reach out to me. Let's geek out. I'm all about it.
And if someone wanted to talk to me about my emergency I can feel fine with executing him Geordie program, they can find me on Twitter, Twitch, or Instagram under username Dr. Sci-Fi, DrSciFi, or my website, drsci-fi.com, or on 2 recent episodes of Missing Frames, one where I'm talking about Willow, which has nothing to do with science fiction, and another where my daughter and I are recounting her first time seeing The Empire Strikes Back. Set course for adorableness. Well, I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Phillip Gilfus.
And I'm Daniel Prue.
Not washing away here on City Alpha 3. Are we all holograms? I don't know.
Computer in program.
No, don't say it.